I spent 20 years begging for a name. Tonight, I give it back. In this valley, I am a ghost, a mistake they want to bury. But ghosts don't stay buried, not when they have a score to settle.
In this valley, everything has a mark. The cattle, the fences, even the dirt belongs to a name. But I walk this land as a ghost, a shadow without a signature. They say my father owned 10,000 head of cattle, each one branded with a single letter. H, for Harris, for heritage, for everything I would never have. The study smelled of leather and whiskey, old money, old power. My father sat behind a desk carved from oak older than the territory itself. Across from him, my half-brother, William, the legitimate son. I watched from the doorway, always watching, never invited. Father's finger traced lines across the estate ledger. Every acre, William, every water right, every mineral claim, it all passes to one name, Harris. Blood mixed with dust doesn't make you heir. The law looks at names first, blood second. William nodded. He didn't look at me. He never did. I turned away. My boots made no sound on the expensive carpet. Ghosts don't leave footprints. In town, they didn't call me by name. They called me Shadow, or Harris's Mistake. The air froze whenever I walked past. Whispers followed me like dust in a wake. See them, how they tease me? Look at that boy, spit an image of the sheriff, but not a lick of grace. Quiet, he'll hear you. Let him. Ghosts don't have ears. Not without a surname, they don't. Earlier that day, I'd seen the mayor tip his hat to William. Smiles and handshakes, respect bought with my father's brand. But for me, they only tipped their chins to spit in the dirt. I kept my head down, staring at my boots until I reached the general store steps. That's when I heard it. The only clean sound in this dirty town.
Jesse said to me, "Hey, Gil, you still gonna teach me that new rope trick? You promised." Jesse, 8 years old and full of life. He was sitting on the steps, swinging his legs. I started to smile, just a little. But his father's hand clamped onto his shoulder, pulled him back into the shadows of the store. A warning look set my way, cold enough to draw blood. I didn't answer. I couldn't. I just kept walking. Jesse was the only person in this valley who didn't look away. His voice was the only thing that could break the town's bitter silence. I worked in the stable. That's where bastards belong, among the horses and the hay and the things that serve but don't inherit. The mare I was brushing, her name was Dust, because that's all she was worth. That's all I was worth. My mother? No one speaks of her. Not even the old hands who've been here since before I was born. I found her grave once, behind the mission church. No marker, no name, just a wooden cross rotten into the red earth. They say she died bringing me into this world. They say Father paid the priest to bury her quietly. They say he never looked at her body, couldn't bear to see what his moment of weakness had cost him. I don't know what's true. I only know this. She gave me life, and he gave me nothing. Father came to the stable that night. Rare. He never came to where I worked, where I lived. He stood in the doorway, backlit by the house lanterns, a silhouette of power. I kept brushing dust, didn't look up. Gil, my name. Just my name. Never son, never my boy. Always just Gil. I stopped brushing. Sir, not father. We both knew the rules. You've been asking around town about legal matters. He knew. Of course he knew. Nothing happened in this valley without his knowledge. I set down the brush, turned to face him. I went to see the notary in Prescott. His jaw tightened. And? He said it's simple. A document, your signature, acknowledgement of paternity. I don't need inheritance. I don't want your land, your cattle, your water rights. I took a step closer. I just want my name to mean something before I die. Father's hand went to his watch chain. Old habit when he was thinking, calculating. A name isn't free, Gil. It's power. It's responsibility. It's the history of this family. Giving you the Harris name splits William's future, creates complications, legal challenges. I'd sign anything. My voice cracked. I hated myself for it. Any waiver, any renunciation, I'd swear before God I claimed nothing of yours. I just want, before I'm in the ground like her, I want someone to call me someone's son. The lantern light flickered across his face. For a moment, just a breath, I thought I saw something. Regret? Shame? But it died as quickly as it came. The stable life is your best option, Gil. It's honest work. It's more than many bastards get. He turned to leave. I grabbed his arm. He froze. We both knew I'd crossed a line you don't cross. Say it once, I whispered. Just once. Call me your son. He pulled his arm free. Didn't look back. Good night, Gil. And the footsteps faded. I stood there in the dark. Dust nuzzled my shoulder. Even she knew. Some things you can beg for your whole life and still die without.
The drought came like a curse. Biblical. The kind old men swear they've never seen before. The sky turned copper. The creek beds cracked open like wounds. Cattle dropped in the fields. Buzzards grew fat. The small farmers, the ones who'd scraped by for generations, they watched their land turn to dust. Their children's lips cracked from thirst. Their wells ran dry. But there was water, up in the highlands, the reservoir. Stone and concrete, built 20 years ago when the territory was young and men still believed in sharing. The whole valley had rights to it, written agreements, handshake deals that meant something, until Father closed the gates. I was there when he did it, rode up with William and 3 hired guns, men with dead eyes and quick hands, the kind you don't hire for their conversation. Father stood at the gate mechanism, the water behind it clear, cold, life sloshing against concrete. This reservoir was built with Harris money, my father's money. It's on Harris land. The drought is nobody's fault, but I won't let my herd die for sentiment. A crowd had gathered. Farmers, their wives, children with hollowed eyes. Tom Barker stepped forward. He was a small man, rail thin, worked a patch of land so poor you had to fertilize it with hope. But he had a son, 8 years old, named Jesse, the only kid in the valley who ever talked to me like I was human. "Mr. Harris, please, the agreement."
Agreements made in plenty mean nothing in famine. This is my water now. Anyone who touches this gate gets shot, not as a threat, as a promise. The hired guns moved their hands to their guns, not drawing, just resting. Tom looked at his boy. Jesse was staring at the water. His tongue moved across his cracked lips. I opened my mouth. To say what, I don't know. Father's eyes found mine. A warning. Stay silent, bastard. I did. God forgive me. I did. Jesse Barker died on a Tuesday. He'd walked up to the reservoir at dawn, alone, just a boy, with an empty canteen and dying hope. The hired guns saw him, shouted. Jesse ran. They fired warning shots, but you don't warn an 8-year-old with bullets. You terrify him. Jesse scrambled backwards, lost his footing on the cliff edge, fell 30 feet onto the rocks below. They found him at noon, still breathing, barely. I rode with Tom to get the doctor, but we both knew. Some falls you don't survive. Jesse died in his father's arms at sunset. His last word was water. The funeral was an evening affair. Mid-June, the sun a lingering stain on the horizon, the church bell tolling. The whole town came to the funeral. Everyone, except the man who should have been there. I stood at the back of the church. I didn't deserve to be closer. Tom Barker sat in the front pew, his wife beside him, both of them carved from grief. The priest spoke about God's plan, about heaven, about suffering that leads to grace. Empty words, holy lies we tell ourselves so we can sleep. I watched Tom's shoulders shake, watched him press his fist against his mouth to keep from screaming, and I knew, in that moment, I knew the silence had to end.
I didn't knock. Father looked up from his papers. William was there too. Perfect William. Clean hands, William. This is a private. I slammed my hand on the desk. The inkwell jumped. A boy is dead. Father's expression didn't change. A tragedy. An accident. I've sent the family money for money! The word tore out of me like a bullet. You think you can buy silence? You think dollars can fill the hole where an 8-year-old used to be? William stood up. Jill, you need to calm. Don't you dare tell me to calm down. You sat there in this room. You helped him plan it. You're as guilty as he is. Father stood slowly, the way a judge stands before sentencing. I broke no law, Jill. The water was mine. The law says, fuck the law. I'd never cursed in front of him before, never raised my voice. 23 years of swallowed rage, it all came up now. That boy, Jesse, he was the only person in this godforsaken valley who ever treated me like I mattered. He'd bring me apples from his tree. He'd ask me to teach him to rope. My voice broke. He'd call me Jill like it was a real name, like I was a real person. Father's hand went to his watch chain. I'm sorry you lost a friend, but business is business. A child is dead. Your greed killed him. Your precious name, your precious Harris legacy, it's built on a grave now, a small grave, and you want to talk about business. I grabbed his front shirt. William moved, but Father held up a hand, stopped him. We stared at each other, father and son, master and ghost. I want your name,
I whispered. You want the Harris legacy to survive? Then go to that funeral. Kneel in front of Tom Barker. Tell him your greed killed his son. Tell him you're sorry. Tell him you're human. Prove to me that the name you protected so carefully means more than property lines and water rights. Father's eyes were ice. I broke no law. Then the law is a lie, and so are you. I let him go, stepped back. On his vest he wore a silver badge, honorary sheriff, another symbol of power, another piece of metal that meant nothing. I reached out, tore it off. The pin ripped through the fabric. I threw it on the floor between us. You protected your name. You kept your wealth. Congratulations, Father. You won. I turned to leave. He called after me. Jill, where will you go? I stopped at the door, didn't turn around. Anywhere, a name doesn't matter. I packed light. A bedroll, canteen, the rifle Father gave me on my 16th birthday, the only gift he ever gave. Even that had no inscription. Dust stood patient in the pre-dawn dark. I ran my hand along her neck. You and me, girl, we're all either of us has. She nickered softly. Agreement. I led her out of the stable, past the main house. Lights were on in Father's study. He was awake. Watching? Maybe. Probably. I didn't look up. The valley opened before me. East, the town. The graves, the memories. West, nothing but horizon and possibility. I turned west. I asked for a name. He gave me silence. Now I will give this world a name it will never forget, one he can never claim as his own. They will call me many things, outlaw, thief, devil. But I will make them remember one truth. A man is not his father's name. A man is what he does when the law looks away. I am the son of the dust, and the dust bows to no brand.